and one of Europe's leading steel companies itself. And beside that, we are one of the Nordic region's largest consumers of recycled steels. Maybe not something you, if you are miners in the group here, that's so interested in, but sooner or later, the iron ore ends up as scrap, and that's good for us. Coming back to the roots and why we are here and what we can do for the mining. Parts of Ovako, at least, today Ovako is a group of many, say, roots, but one part of Ovako is steels for bearing and bearing applications. So what's this in mining? If we talk about the steel for bearings itself, they have a certain profile of requirement, and the steel profile for bearing steel, it is wear resistant, coming very much from the chemistry, how you alloy the steel to make the wear resistance. Another part in this component is bearings are components loaded many times, meaning you need fatigue resistance. And that's coming from clean steel. Clean steel itself is also something good for wear resistance. Another part is you make massive volume production of these steel products, and you like to have repeatable processes. So the process control is very needed to keep same parameters under control day in and day out of the production. And then finally, the product to make bearings, you ask for that in many shapes, and that we support the business by the Ovako product range, from small bars to large bars, from tubes, rings, whatever you need for making the bearings. Coming to this, and then one specific area, and that is the clean steel. Clean steel, what is really clean steel? And that is something one could say very much like the miners, and that is coming from, you don't like, I don't know the English name, but you don't like gråberg, you like ore. We like the same thing. We talk about steel, the parts of the metals that is in the steel, the alloys, but there are other nasty things. Small non-metallic inclusions, other imperfections like porosities, segregations of the alloys not on the right position. All these are non-perfect things in a non-clean steel. So the opposite, the clean steel is where there is no imperfections as inclusions, no porosities, low levels of segregations. That is, in general, to say, one very important part to make this bearing steel concept. And inside, to make the bearing steel concept, we have designed a general trade name, and that is what we call bearing quality steel, BQ steel. And the BQ steel is our way of making the general set of making the clean steel, the repeatable steel, and all other properties needed for making good products as bearings. Still not coming into the mining, but then BQ steel itself is our procedure to fulfill a bearing steel profile. Still coming to the mining. And then inside that is a defined set of process and product controls. This was designed to make the bearing world happy. Nowadays, we have set that the BQ steel is a way to make all demanding applications in the good way. And that's why now we apply the BQ steel to make also steels as coming more and more steel for percussive drilling, where you have a number of parameters required for as wear resistance, familiar from the bearing, very much wear resistance when you go drilling in the rock, of course. And that's a chemical content, but it's another wear, meaning you have another chemical content and need another kind of steel grade to make the wear resistance in a rock drilling operation, percussive drilling. You have the percussive, drilling technique, of course, a lot of fatigue load, and that's also helped by the clean steel. So exactly the same setup and prerequisites as for the bearing steel in the percussive drilling. And then finally also, all component makers for percussive drilling tools like to have, say, repeatable processes, the same thing day in, day out, all the time. And that's we supported by our process control to make the steel the same thing yesterday, today, and tomorrow, supplying the steel into the producers of making the rock drilling tools or percussive drilling components. And then, of course, you have small parts, big parts. And then we have this, let's say, Ovako product range supporting all the components needed to make a complete drill string. So today, we supply BQ steel for drilling operations in the top hammer tooling, from shank adapter in the top down to the deep in the drill bit. All the products, bars in the shank adapters and the drill bit, and all the tubular products between the shank adapter and the drill bit. With drill rods, with coupling, if you have just extension rods, or the guide tubes at the end, just behind the drill bit. All are can be made in BQ steel from Ovako. And if you go for down the hole drilling, we make the steel for the DTH drilling components in the piston casings or the various subs and components inside the motor, hammer, and of course the drill bit itself. We supply out of our bar products. Then, if this is not good enough, we lift it to one level up, and that's so-called IQ steel. IQ is standing for isotropic quality, and that is a super clean steel for very high demands. And that is really, one can say, Ovako can offer this IQ steel as a challenge to the remelted products. We make today steel in our processes in a way that others have to make remelting, twice operation, to make the same cleanliness. And then we can say we challenge all the tool steel makers where these are used. So for very demanding drilling operations, then we talk about the pistons really, inside the motors. And it's of course in the drifter or the piston in the hammer. Both are available as IQ steel from us that we can supply to give a much more reliable lifetime of your hammer in the top hammer application or inside the DTH hammer. So to summarize this, could say BQ steel and IQ steel, we have the whole level of BQ steel, the high clean steel, the bearing quality in general, our bread and butter, but from the component point of view, very much cleaner than the normal standard steels available in the world. And then if you need something extra, the IQ steel to really lift it up to levels of tool steel, but with the availability and the size range of Ovako. Small, large, any size. So that's, let's say, the offering of Ovako. And short, but any questions on this? I appreciate. Anyway, if you need some more information about this, we are available in the Iron Hall, of course, where you enter. So you're welcome. Thank you.